Learned how law enforcement found the remains of Tylee Ryan on Chad Daybell's property in June of 2020.
And Chad Daybell is the man accused of murdering Tylee and her brother JJ. They were his wife Lori Vallow Daybell's children, and Chad is also on trial for allegedly murdering his first wife Tammy.
Jurors heard from FBI Special Agent Steve Daniels. He led the evidence response team, which found JJ and Tylee's remains. His team processed the scene by setting up the perimeter and then excavating layer by layer to tell the story of how the children were buried. Daniels talked about how evidence led them to priority areas on Chad's property, including a text he sent about burying something in his pet cemetery. But before excavating, they didn't know those locations would be the burial sites.
Prior to arriving from our aerial images that we saw, like satellite imagery, this was the area of the fire pit. So we knew that was a priority area. We were going to look for pet cemetery, which we didn't know where it was on the property yet. And then we had some telephone ping information. One of those pings was in the area up here where I'm kind of circling. JJ's human remains end up being found where that orange rectangle is. And our pet cemetery ends up being found in this area right here. And that square ends up being Tylee's burial site. But at the time, prior
as
to
they
arrival,
carefully dug,
that was going to
said that the team found pieces of bone and charred flesh and then mounds of melted flesh in a green bucket. They also say they later determined that they found Tylee's skull at the bottom of that bucket. We only heard about how they found Tylee's remains today, though. Graphic photos of the remains were shown to the jurors, not the general public. But physical evidence like Tylee's necklace and a pick and shovel from Chad's garage were brought into the courtroom today, and they were shown to the jury.
And earlier in the day, a Rexburg police detective wiped tears from his eyes at times as he talked about his search for the missing kids. Detective David Stubbs told jurors about the search warrants they carried out at townhomes and on electronic devices belonging to people connected to the case. Stubbs did a welfare check at Lori's townhome in Rexburg looking for JJ on November 26, 2019. His body camera video shows when officers went back to Lori, her brother, and her niece's neighboring townhome the next day. They were vacant.
Detective, we just heard you say there was no clothing left in that closet, correct?
Yes.
Was that of note to you?
It was. It made me think that the occupants, because of our day visit before, left in haste.
Agent Daniels will be back on the stand Monday. Today in court, he said that they found JJ's body before recovering Tylee's remains. We expect jurors to learn how the ERT found JJ's body on Monday, and you can watch all of today's trial and our comprehensive coverage on the KTVB YouTube channel.